As the great band Dropkick Murphy says, the boys are back. So what's good? How you doing? Welcome to Crazy Pinfalls. We got the AWO here. What's up, Aaron? How you doing?
So I'm doing well. How's everybody in the chat? Once you all pop in.
Yeah, I mean, eventually it'll happen.
Yeah.
But everybody's always cool here. And we
Yeah.
are live.
We were supposed to have another person in, but internet.
Gotta love the net. I mean, it's interesting regardless, just because of the fact that certain things happen, like technically. I mean, think about
hmm
how many times if you've literally like gone down and you're like panicking because of it. Like what program? And we'll talk about the week that was mainly, but what program do you primarily use now? Do you use StreamYard? Reese? You
Yeah.
used to do another one for a while, right?
I did StreamYard. I do StreamYard now for all. I do StreamYard for my videos now instead of OBS because it's kind of easier to use now. It's easier to use StreamYard for videos now. And I use StreamYard for basically StreamYard. So I basically use StreamYard.
Yeah, I mean it's a lot simpler. They keep adding more functions to it and everything.
Yeah.
Um, I'm hoping that, especially with the idea of the poll part of it, where like you could pull your previous shows and put it on audio wise, it makes it a lot more easier and interesting.
Yeah, you
Um,
could do that with StreamYard.
and it's I'm hoping one of these days they do like a mixer where you could do an audio and all that stuff too. Um,
Mhm.
so this week's been one crazy week, hasn't it? Like
Yeah.
there's things that happen in wrestling that you've never thought, like Hangman Page coming back and winning as the Joker, winning it, the Casino Battle Royal.
hmm
Just Gable Stevenson out of nowhere. Fightful reported that at 30 minutes, like you said before in the pre, he got
Yeah.
literally was getting drafted. They must
He
have
was just
really
like
high
trying to make a
hopes.
mind before, too.
I know, right? It's just like he was just getting into the Olympics and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's just one of those things that's completely insane. I mean, think about it this way, right? If he can go either two ways in this whole scenario, which he can go the Lesnar route, where he can work with WWE for a while and then do UFC. He can go the Angle route, where Angle was literally a dominant performer, picked it up real quick, or you can go the I hate to say this because he can go the Chad Gable route, and where he's just not used as much. It could
I
go
don't think they're
either
going to go
way.
that way. I don't think, based on this, they're not going to go that way. I don't think. They better not go that way. Because they're going to invest so much in this. They can't go the Chad Gable way. They have to
Wouldn't
go
you
either
think?
the Angle or Lesnar way.
But wouldn't you think it'd be better for them to be putting him in NXT though? Just just because of the fact that that would make more sense to give him more time.
Oh, NXT needs talent, man. You see what the medium demographic was? 62? What
Yeah.
the what? What,
I
62?
mean, Braun Breaker going against Tommaso Ciampa. I mean, I think if you want a big fight feel with a name like Ciampa, I think
Yeah.
Stevenson would be that.
Yeah, look, I'm gonna be honest with you. I do not like NXT 2.0.
I
I
think it's
hate it.
interesting, but I think they're pulling the trigger on some of the talent that's been there too quickly. I mean,
Yeah,
MSK, I give me Imperium versus MSK. Yes, please. If you put Imperium and MSK in WWE on their main roster, that boosts up their tag division greatly, especially since they pulled Eric and Ivar apart,
hmm
which
Uh,
made no sense at all.
I mean, there's still look. I do not like NXT 2.0. I said it just a second ago, but there's some stuff I like on the there's some people I do like on the show. Like Braun Breaker, I do like. I don't like the name, and I'm in the majority of it. I think it's a bad name. I hope it doesn't hurt him, but he should be Rex Steiner. I understand there's reasons why they call him Steiner, but you know what? Who cares? Just call him Rex Steiner. I Vaughn. What's that guy's name? Who's helping out Calvary? Van Wild. What's his name? Van something?
Vinoy or something like that.
Yeah, that's a bad name too. That's a bad name. Um, Tony D'Angelo, I'm sorry. I hope like Tony D'Angelo, I have no problem with him. But the only issue I have is that the character itself, I have no problem. The issue I have is that the character has its name. And you're a hockey guy, so you're aware of this. Because remember the hockey player Tony D'Angelo, right?
Yeah.
That's the issue I have. And we know how much of a troublemaker that hockey player was. I don't know if they know that. I don't know if they take aware of that, but um, like I think that gimmick could work. But I think for a guy like Tony D'Angelo, if he's a mobster gimmick, doesn't he need like a faction? He could do something like that. Doesn't he need more than just
I
one
think
person?
Elgato Phantasma
Yeah, yeah,
probably after Survivor Series will go up to the main roster.
yeah. Because they're gonna be done with Hitwell. They're pretty much
Yeah,
done with Hitwell because Hitwell's going up. Yeah.
and swear Elgato is going to get the North American
Like
title, and just
I hope Hitwell is ready. Because to me, B Fab is not ready for in ring work on the main roster. Because I saw her 2 matches, she's not good.
no. It's going to be, and I hate to say it because Hit Row's great. It's going to be a Lana situation where they're going to try to throw her in the ring, keep throwing her in the ring, and hope it works. And eventually, sometimes you can't keep throwing paint and expect it to stay the same color. You know, it's just
Scott was ready for the main roster. Scott was ready for the main roster like a long time ago. He was ready for me. I don't know about the other two. I haven't seen much in action. I think they're more ready to be Fab, but Scott for sure is ready for the main roster.
Oh yeah, Scott definitely is.
Yeah.
I could see matches against him and Seth and how physical those would be. Him and Balor would be an amazing match. But I think they need to not go backwards to FCW. I think they need to keep doing what NXT was NXT, like where it was drawing people in the PC, not the Performance Center, the PC, not this WCW, whatever it's called. Like literally bringing people at full sale, surrounding them by the right people, and keeping them in check, and letting the people do what they do. I wouldn't mind seeing, and as much as his contract's going to be coming up, and it's kind of sad, especially with how good he is, and he just changed his byline on Twitter. I know social media, you really don't pay attention to that, but I think if you give me a Ciampa and Gargano, and then pull the trigger of doing like a Cole thing, where like Cole came in during a championship match and basically took over the whole thing. I can see them doing something like that with Gargano, and just putting him into that main event scene, because the guy's really good. If you have Sean's backing on that stuff, like a lot of the things that's been said, there's a big difference, and it makes a huge difference with him. I literally would love to see him versus Ricochet and do that on the main roster, but I would love to see him like against Seth, against Roman, against so many of these top tier guys, because he is the heart and soul.
If he goes against Roman, bring him back as that underdog Gargano that we had in 2017, 2018 that wrestled Ciampa for like a year. Bring him back with that Gargano.
Bring him back even more. Like even if you have to, keep him there. Like, make it
over
NXT,
worth it. Right? Gargano is so damn over.
He's and this is a compliment for Gargano, right? Is that he is NXT's Seth Rollins. Like, Seth could be bulletproof and not do anything wrong and toe the line, and he would, and literally same thing. Gargano's like that, but he also knows what's important. It's just they were smart to keep the way on TV during the whole indie and Loomis whole storyline, and now that they're probably going away just so they can settle everything in with their first child. I hope he resigns. I pray he resigns, because that will be one major hit. It shouldn't matter about how your look is and stuff like that. If you can go, let them go.
Yeah, I think losing Gargano, if they didn't try to resign him, He is a huge get, and I think he's one of the talents that AEW would definitely go after. Because if he went to AEW, he would get a huge, maybe a bigger, maybe even a bigger pop than Adam Cole, almost on the level of Brian Danielson. Because that guy Gargano, yes, he was barely on the main roster. He was on the main roster for like 2 weeks,
He
but
was
in
on there for a
NXT,
couple of weeks with
yeah,
Black,
yeah,
Ricochet,
in Champa, right?
Ciampa.
He tagged with Champa, even though Champa was a heel at the time,
Yeah,
and and I think in AEW he'd be freaking huge because can you imagine like Gargano and AEW having matches with Brian Danielson? Well, we saw we could do with Adam Cole, but with Omega, um,
and
Andrade.
gotta love internet issues like usual. Yeah, I love internet issues.
Yeah.
But no, it literally is the truth. Like, let these guys go. Like, not go per se as talent, but let them fight. Let them go. Bring, the one thing with this whole NXT 2.0, I hope and I pray they still keep is the fight pit. And because that's an NXT original match, it's not War Games, which
Oh
I
yes.
hope they keep. Um, but it's something where it's an original match. It's something that they put a lot of effort into building the structure. Just keep it. Let it go. Let these guys settle disputes in the ways they need to. Not a steel cage where someone can jump into it and it falls apart.
Where the hell has been Thatcher, by the way? Like, where's been Timothy Thatcher?
I know, right? And it's so him and Champa fighting for that title would be an amazing match. It
Mm-hmm.
would be like one of those matches that could be like one of the top 10 matches of that year. So let's say they keep Ciampa the champion until after Survivor Series and stuff. Give Thatcher a shot, give
Yeah.
Loomis a shot, Grimes a shot, not, Braun Breaker. I mean, the guy's so far is good after 3 weeks, but I mean, you got to have more depth, and they're going young, which is great because that looks towards the future of the company. But let them just go. Let's get it. AEW is now eating you alive. Let's be very
Oh
honest, people.
yeah.
And it's just,
DMC. Yeah. We're gonna talk about
sons
that.
yeah, we will talk about Crown Jewel. We've got a couple of things going on there.
Oh, because
Um,
the neck. Oh yeah, yeah. Because your next your show in 2 weeks will be after Crown Jewel because Crown Jewel will be in the afternoon.
yeah, and on top of that, we also have, and I got to start getting this all squared away. We have multiple prediction shows going on that week. We have Bound for Glory, Rob Wilkins versus Dennis Farrell. We've got, now I'm going to announce, we've got a huge match going there. We have Drew, Big Money Drew, the Omega Drew against the guy who's calling him the cleaner, Pat
So
Mason. And now we're
he
going to add
loses as a moment
another
race, so he
match.
steals the other gimmick.
Yeah, pretty much. But all in actuality, like, just to be very honest, Drew's actually a really good guy, and
Yeah, he
it
is.
and we've got a couple of stuff to also add, and I will talk to these two people also. But we're adding another match, a prediction show match for Crown Jewel, because with Halloween Havoc coming up too, it's not enough time to add to set up another match up to get to where it needs to be. So, and with Halloween Havoc, we don't know the card yet anyway,
We
so
just know the
it's kind
title
of hard to
match.
predict. Yeah, we just know one match. We don't know the
Yeah.
rest. We might have a triple threat match. I wouldn't mind seeing.
It's probably gonna be Mandy Rose and Raquel Gonzalez. Just not official.
I wouldn't mind seeing an all or nothing match where they literally just put all three titles up and just see both titles up, the
Yeah,
tag
gotta be
and the.
creative. Because
It'd
what
be interesting.
I see from 2.0, they kind of changed the formula. Like they just want to get the young talent, but they're sacrificing a lot of the quality of the matches for more storytelling. And when NXT did so well, was storytelling was NXT did well, but was the quality of matches too.
They have to step it up a
Yeah,
lot. Like, not Raw's starting to pick up, which is
Raw
good.
and SmackDown both been Raw especially.
So but NXT now, it's just like ever
It's
since
the
they
worst
tried
brand.
competing
It's
with
the worst show.
yeah, it's become the worst show, and it was like, and like I kept saying, it was the number one show for the longest time, and now it's just like,
I know.
and it's sad. It really is. I want NXT Finn Balor versus Joe. I want that type of era of NXT. I mean, come on. It it we're at what, 4 weeks almost into this experiment. Let's call it an experiment.
I hope
And
so.
2.0 is becoming a 2.0.
Well, with 62 age medium, that's not a good thing. That's
No,
not good.
it's not. And that probably doesn't even count the um the DVR
And
part of all of it too.
and guys, this is proof. Even because 2.0 has been edgier, right? We can admit it's been edgier. It's been proof edgier stuff does not always get you more eyes.
They can't bring back the Attitude Era and put
No.
it into NXT because it doesn't work.
Yeah, exactly. And they're trying with certain characters, and they're trying to be more. They're trying a little bit to push the envelope on NXT 2.0. It's just not working. So
I will say this, and I will die on this hill. This time next year, because this will be on audio, on visual anyways, on the main, on this, all these channels that we have. Dexter Loomis will be the next NXT champion this time next year.
that'd be hilarious. I'd like
Just because if they pull Ciampa up out of desperation, which
if Ciampa wants to
WWE
go
knows,
up.
that's if he wants to. They're gonna have like Loomis and Dunn mainly in that run. I if they give the title to Dunn, I wouldn't mind it one bit. I just wish like they would do something other than just, regurgitate the same storylines and twist them. I mean, a wedding, come on now. I mean, that's like mid 2000s.
I did like the wedding in the skit and when they're on the honeymoon. I did like that because I thought it was pretty good. It's just because I think Harwell and Loomis, their relationship has been one of the best things about NXT, and that's pre 2.0 too.
I think basically it's grandfathered in basically at this point. So I mean, if they do anything right in NXT, as much as everybody says they have too many titles, put a mid-card women's title. Let these women go and go at it. You have a tag titles for men. You have a mid-card title and the North American title. You could create a women's North American title and just call it that and just give other people opportunities instead of Mandy Rose and her crew. Or you could have certain people you're showing off. Like, where's Dakota? Like, Dakota wasn't drafted. Yeah, Dakota's sitting on the sideline. Give Dakota a shot at a single title. I mean, there's so much talent. It's ridiculous. Like, NXT is still the number 2 just by talent, not by story. The number 2 women's brand in wrestling right now and it used to be neck and neck with Impact, and now it's just like, okay, well,
you can even say it was better than Impact.
No, it really isn't. But I'm excited because now there's another promotion coming back, and that will end up adding into the mix of how much of this independent talent is going to be utilized and shown. I mean, it was reported that World of Women's Wrestling, I think that's what it's called.
Yeah.
They were on
the
Washington. They were on the Washington Post and New York Times this morning. So I mean, promotion media is a big thing, and if you can get your name out there, and
because they're owning the Lakers, right? They own the Lakers, so yeah, they're gonna get noticed. You're gonna get that promotion buzz with the.
So we'll go back to Gable Stevenson a little bit, but who do you think is going to be his first match? Because eventually they have to put him on there at some point.
Somebody who could lead him in the match. It's not gonna be Brock Lesnar because I don't think it's that. Not yet. I don't know how long it will be to beat. If there's he's probably training at Performance Center. I say he'll be up by end of the year. I wouldn't put him in the title picture, but maybe don't book him against Roman Reigns. Don't book him against Roman Reigns. Don't put him in
Well,
that.
he's on Raw, so what I
Oh
think they
yeah.
could do is have him and
Don't even put
Gable.
him on Big E. Don't even put him with Big E. Not
No,
even
have
Big E.
him and Gable go at a series of matches and just do
Yeah. You know
something like
what?
that.
Yeah. Have Gable. Have him. Have that Alpha Academy with Otis and Gable go up to him, try to recruit. He refuses, and then build him up. Don't put him in big matches right away. Build him up. That's what they did with Kurt Angle, right? When Kurt Angle came up in late '99, early 2000,
He had a
they
few
built him
squash
up.
matches before, and they
Yeah,
started building him up slowly.
yeah. And then he had a great, and he became. And you know what? It didn't take him long to get into the main event picture. He had a great WrestleMania triple threat match at WrestleMania because Kurt Angle was like what they say he was a quick learner and stuff. Maybe that'll be the same with Gable Stevenson. I don't know, but just do the same thing they did with Kurt Angle in '99, 2000 with Gable.
Yeah, and for me, it'll be interesting because if you keep pushing the envelope with him, it makes a huge difference. And there is your Brock, your next Cena, your next Roman afterwards, because that's a huge
They don't
name,
have to
and
do what
everybody
they
will
don't have
know.
to do what they did to him like they did with Ronda Rousey because Ronda Rousey was only there for like 1 year basically. It's right because I think he's here to be a wrestler. Ronda Rousey is not here to be like for years. She'll just be here and there. Where I think Gable Stevens is more committed to being a wrestler.
Give me Stevenson versus Seth, or
Well, yeah,
somebody who has a grappling background and stuff like that. Like,
yeah.
hell, I'll even say this: by mid next year, Stevenson will be wrestling, and he'll be going against Ziggler. And
I think he'll have a
everybody,
WrestleMania match,
yeah, I think it'll be him and Ziggler,
possibly.
just because Ziggler has that, NCAA background for Kent State. I think that would be something like that would make it a lot easier, or him versus Gable. Give Gable his Mania match, but
Just don't rush
something
him.
like that. Yeah, no,
Just don't
don't
rush
rush
him.
him, but give him somebody that could lead him, like you said, along the way.
Yeah.
I mean, it should be something like that. It should be something good, at least, hopefully. I mean, especially since WWE kind of tends to not listen to a lot of people,
No. Just
So
do what they did to Angle. That's all you gotta do. Do what they did with Angle '99. That's what they do. That's how I would do it.
I mean, even with Angle was literally one step at a time too.
Yeah.
We for the rest of the draft, because we did have special things in draft. Someone in the chat made a first pick and shocked everybody. So I mean, did you see the draft that DGMC, and
Yeah, I saw it.
Anakin
Yeah,
do,
Anakin posted it. Yeah.
and go the way you hoped it would?
You know what? I'm very satisfied. I think we had a good draft, all of us. I mean, I look at all the picks. I gotta say, I know we're in competition with each other, but I think all brands did very well. I think we did all of us, me, GMC, and Anakin. I think we drafted very well. But
Yeah,
I did get some right, like Big E. Well, Big E obviously stays on Raw, so I didn't draft him because he stays on Raw because of the rules we made, right?
Mm-hmm.
I did get Seth Rollins, Bobby Lashley, Bianca Belair. I got that right.
Yeah, I mean, and now we just got to see where everything lies. I wish we could do like a show one day where we could just do predictions and just have it like that,
Mm-hmm.
and just have it go like straight up, like one by one by one,
I do worry about the SmackDown side of the draft. In W9 mock draft, the women's division will have Charlotte Flair, Sasha Banks, and now has Shayna Baszler. But on the face side, it's very, very weak.
Nobody. It's very thin.
Yes.
So
I mean, you got Tony Storm and Sasha Blackheart. That's all I can think of.
If unless they got some people they're pulling and they're gonna make,
You think they could turn Banks face again, like very quickly?
I don't think they should. I think she should be like a permanent heel. That's her strong suit.
Yeah, I think she's gonna win the title at Crown Jewel.
I think they're probably gonna push that off, if anything.
You think so?
I think with Survivor Series coming up, why would you want to have a match at Crown Jewel when you're having the Queen of the Ring? I mean,
because they want to get the SmackDown title off of Becky because Becky's been on Raw, And the next night is when the effect takes place, even though they appeared on the shows before. And because I really hate the thing when they did last year with the tag teams where they
When
exchanged the
they
title.
swapped them,
I
yeah.
really hate that. I don't want them to do that. If you get drafted and this thing doesn't get take effect, takes effect to a certain date, you have to lose the title. I don't want to
No,
swap.
you know what you should do? Keep Sasha waiting in the wings till
Yeah.
TLC, right? In December. Well, if there is a TLC. And you know what
Well,
you could
yeah.
do? Put both titles on the line at Survivor Series, the Raw and the SmackDown Women's title. Have your rematch, without Ronda, the actual rematch from Mania, and they can play the story off of that. It's just have Becky win it again, or this time have Charlotte win it, and then have Sasha chase after both titles.
Yeah. Especially, yeah, I can see that because SmackDown really needs like a strong baby face, and Toni Storm could be that woman. Shotzi Blackheart, look, I like Shotzi Blackheart a lot in NXT, but she doesn't need a title to be popular because what she does in the ring and how her character is. She doesn't need a title. But and here's the worst thing. Here's the worst thing. They broke up the women tag teams, Natalia and Tamina, and Tegan and Shotzi Blackheart, and now there's no tag team to go up against Rhea and Nikki Cross. Like what
There's
the hell?
nobody. Period.
Yeah.
They're probably gonna jigsaw all this together. I mean, it doesn't make any sense. Like, why keep a tag belt if you're not going to use it? Why have people compete when there's nothing up for stakes on it? Oh, look at us, we're doing a tournament, and with there's stakes for it, there's a belt being sent to somebody. I mean,
You know what? They should have moved Rhea Ripley to SmackDown. That's what I would have done.
They should have went a little younger on the women's side on SmackDown.
Yeah.
Just to get more eyes on them and get more experience, and then turn around and put them on Raw. But that's not the case because WWE doesn't listen to us as fans for the most part.
If you look at the Raw roster to the SmackDown roster, yeah, SmackDown has Roman Reigns, New Day, Charlotte Flair. The Raw roster stacked.
Because Fox wants all the high price famous names, and if they were smart, they would have just kept Becky in the whole time. But
and Bianca Belair too.
Bianca makes more sense being on Raw.
I thought she was gonna move to Raw, but it's really stacked. Look, like on the men's side, you got Roman Reigns, you got Drew McIntyre, because I think you're gonna push Drew McIntyre and Roman Reigns. I think they're gonna have a rematch at WrestleMania. If I'm just speculating here. It's early. You never know. If there's no special traction for Roman Reigns at WrestleMania, I think Drew McIntyre is the guy they're gonna go up against because Roman Reigns has beaten Drew McIntyre twice in single matches at WrestleMania 35 and Survivor Series last year. And Drew McIntyre may be the guy, if they build him up strong, maybe the guy to dethrone Roman Reigns. But I can't think of anybody else on SmackDown on the face side, and the men's side, who could go up against Roman Reigns besides Drew McIntyre. That's how thin it is.
Yeah, and I think, and I'm going to say this, Brock's going to lose, obviously, a crown jewel.
Yeah.
One way or another. And with Survivor Series, obviously, it's going to be Eve versus Roman.
Yep, for sure.
But I think if they're going to pull the trigger with Rock, I think Roman loses at Survivor Series because of Rock's interference. And then they're going to set up a match where Rock could possibly win the title at Rumble, let's say that, to run it back at kind of what they did with Cena and him, where they ran it back where Rock won the title and they ran it back again at Mania, and then Cena won it. So I think they could do that again and then give it back to Roman again.
That'd be a perfect face turn for Roman. Like The Rock and Roman have this feud, and Roman they go back and forth. Roman wins, beats The Rock, and what happens is instead of Roman saying I'm better than you, or I prove him the head, I'm proving to really the head of the family, Rock gets up, congratulates Roman for taking the title off, and that's when turn Roman's face. Because remember, like a report about half a year ago, the plan was to turn Roman babyface once the crowd comes back. So I think WrestleMania, kind of like Hogan. Remember Hogan when The Rock and Hogan? I remember when Hogan turned babyface at WrestleMania. I think that would be the perfect time. I think at WrestleMania that would be the perfect time for Roman to turn babyface.
I think it would be perfect just to put the bloodline into a different mindset.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd rather keep Roman heel. I mean, that would be more sensible than anything, right?
Uh, it can, but I think this gimmick could work as a baby face. It just has to change it out a little bit.
I don't. I think you keep him as this, have Rock as the face, and literally let Rock go
I mean,
all
I mean,
crazy.
after WrestleMania, it changed the baby face. Like maybe like
It,
I don't
it,
know.
it really all depends. I mean, I could see them do one thing and do
It's
the
just
other. I mean,
it's
but
just
of course,
hard. It's just hard to see who could go up against Roman Reigns on SmackDown right now before WrestleMania. Besides Drew McIntyre on the Raw side, there's plenty of opponents you could go. You can name. I can name you 5 guys that you can see going up Big E right now. Seth Rollins or Lashley again. Finn Balor, like
it's time.
Styles
It's time to have Cesaro
or
finally
Cesaro. Yes,
get an actual chance to get the title run for a while. But I think that would be something like with Money in the Bank next year, where Cesaro wins it, kind of like what E does, and gets it off E.
finally, yeah.
I think E's going to hold that title for a while, regardless of the stature or whether it's going on. But I think E is going to hold that probably as long as Roman does.
Because I'll be honest, I like Roman Reigns. I look forward to Raw more now than SmackDown because of the roster it's getting.
Yeah, I mean, you've got so much there and so much to do with these people. It's insane. I mean, look at the match for the Queener of the Ring match that is actually being announced. You've got a match they just did for a pay-per-view,
so many times.
doing as your first one. I mean, hell, I'd rather watch Lily literally beat up a unicorn and just enjoy watching that than watching the same WWE match over and over again.
Oh yeah. I mean, yeah. I mean, I like Liv Morgan, but I don't hate Carmella. I don't like this gimmick Carmella because I don't understand what the gimmick is. Like on the most beautiful woman in WWE, who cares? What's your gimmick? Are you like a high paid stripper escort gimmick? Like, I don't understand the gimmick this Carmella has. Do you?
No, I really don't.
It's like, can anybody explain it to me in the chat or on Twitter? Because I don't understand. Like, you're the most beautiful woman. I'm glad she's. She's going to Raw now to be with Graves. Her boyfriend. But I don't like. I don't understand Carmella. I love her old gimmick. I know, but like, I don't understand.
I think it's time just to adapt, and I think the wild card in this whole draft that nobody has talked about is Bayley, because Bayley should be back by at least before Mania. Right around that area.
Maybe before, best case scenario before, maybe. I'm not sure if it's, when they say 9 months?
Mm-hmm.
When was she injured? July, June?
Let's say June.
June, because she was supposed to have a match with Bianca Belair, right?
Yeah.
Maybe before WrestleMania.
So
she's a free agent, right?
Yeah. So what her and Lesnar are big names. Yeah, and Asuka. So what I could see is that Bayley comes back. Sasha is on Raw, right? SmackDown. I could see her and Sasha going after those tag titles again, just to do what they did during the whole during COVID. But I think with fans, it would get over more so than anything. Let them do what they did it again, and then all of a sudden have them split apart. And let's say both of them have both of the titles, and let people go after them. I mean,
they need some teams to go after women's tag team titles. I mean, anybody right now do.
They need people in general. Yeah. I mean, who do you name people to go that other than Rhea and Nikki to have those titles? And you just took Alexa off TV for right now too.
Yeah, she's on. Yeah, I thought was going to happen. I thought Dakota Kai was going to get drafted, and when it broke Tegan Nox and Shotzi Blackheart, I thought they're going to reunite Tegan Nox and Dakota Kai. Dakota Kai was going to turn baby face.
I think that's probably what's going to happen with Tegan. I think if she got drafted to SmackDown, I believe. I couldn't read all of that stuff.
I think she'd do better on SmackDown as a single star because the Raw women's side is very stacked. Like you got the Becky Lynch, Bianca Belair, Carmella, Liv Morgan. Now you got Tegan Nox. You also got Alexa Bliss, who's going to come back. It's It's a big roster. I mean, oh, we
I
can't SmackDown. We can't forget about Naomi.
yeah. I
She
I
might get a
think
push.
I think Dakota's going to end up on SmackDown, and that will be like a premier feud for Tegan. They'll run that back, and they'll bring back the NXT history too.
Oh,
But
and they also caught up with ZLD. I forgot about her.
yeah, and I think that it's going to be a game changer with that match. I think that should be like a highlighted match on a major pay per view rather than anything.
Mm-hmm.
Um, AEW, oh my god, they are literally on fire right now. Like
They're not
it's
stopping.
like
There's nothing's gonna put it out. The fire, man. Nothing's gonna put it out right now.
no Bobby Fish on there.
It's
Holy
getting bigger and
crap!
bigger. The fire, huh? The fire's getting bigger and bigger. How good it is.
Or better yet, it's like the noise is going to get bigger and
Yeah.
it's not going to stop. I wouldn't be surprised at Full Gear that someone major comes in that they haven't even thought of. Anybody has thought of. I mean, it could be. Well, they signed Bobby Fish and stuff, but let's say WWE cuts Gargano's contract early, he could just be at Full Gear.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it could something like that. There's got to be a big name. I mean, Kevin Owens is one that comes to mind of his contract. Well, Kevin Steen, but
Yeah, I think it's
I
January,
doubt.
right?
Yeah, but I doubt that
The way
they're
they're
gonna
booking
do that.
him, the way they're booking him is almost like they're expecting him to leave.
I hope he doesn't. I think him being. I could see him being a face of a promotion. If he did leave, I don't think AEW, as much as his friends are there, I think him going back to ROH for a little while just to get eyes
Mm-hmm.
on there. Because how many talent do you hear us talking about in Fightful chats or here or different discords or anything that are from ROH or that are in ROH right now that makes a huge impact? You don't hear many names that often.
No.
So maybe it's time to do that. Now, back to the NXT part, the only other person I could see going up for the women's side for up to the main roster is Kylie Ray. And yeah, everybody's going to be like, well,
Me
she
too.
was
I
all
actually
this
agree
women.
too. I actually kind of agree with you there.
I want to see her and Charlotte go.
Because I have
So
no idea what they're doing with her in NXT right now.
it doesn't make any sense. Why don't you just put the belt on her and let Raquel go up? I
I mean,
mean,
Ember
that would
Moon
make
should be
more
called up
sense.
too because they're not doing anything with her. They're having to lose now. She's a jobber right now, Ember Moon.
It doesn't make any sense at the
No.
period, regardless of what it is. I mean, eventually what will happen is that you have all these great talent, and it's going to end up it's going to end up being something where people are going to want to pay attention to one of these matches. Now, Charlotte, I have a feeling will be in the Queen of the Ring.
Gotta hope not.
Sasha, they're gonna have to put a huge name
They
in
should
there.
put Shayna Baszler in there.
I think they should put Asuka in there.
If she's healthy enough, she's cleared, right?
Yeah,
because it starts
But-
tomorrow, so I don't think she's gonna be in it, but because it starts tomorrow.
we'll see.
Otherwise, they would have drafted her. I think she would have been in the draft.
I mean, a free agent could go anywhere they want,
Yeah.
regardless where it is. So, I don't know.
I think SmackDown could use Asuka right now.
I think SmackDown could use anybody right now.
Yeah,
It's ridiculous. I mean, they're focusing more on the tag stuff and the men than they are the women, which is sad. Hell, I could see a future champion right across from me right now and literally would dominate the whole SmackDown roster and run Rickshaw. I mean, literally walk around with a title over her head and just be all proud about it. But, that's another 20 years from now or so. AEW could use Asuka. That is true. That is very true. Hey, Drew, if you're around, we want to talk about Arthur Ashe and your experience when you get a chance.
Yeah, we need that, Drew. We need experience from Arthur Ashe, man.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's got to be something's got to give in WWE, and for me, it's sad because I'm slowly losing faith in them. And
Can you remember how? Can we remember how we used to say like Raw was a bad show, and now NXT 2.0 is the worst show, and SmackDown might end up being like end up being a not interesting show because of what happened in the draft?
I don't think it's going. I think their look Fox wants the bigger names, and they want to keep Roman and the Usos because that's a huge name. Because
Roman's
they
huge,
probably,
Charlotte's a huge name, but Becky Lynch is also a huge name.
yeah, and I think they need.
Bigger than Charlotte. Becky Lynch was a bigger name than Charlotte. I know Charlotte has the last name, but Becky Lynch was bigger than Charlotte when she
I,
was before pregnancy.
they need to do something because eventually what's going to happen is just the cat. Look at the demographics on all the channels, all three
Yeah.
shows. It's older than it's supposed to be, and AEW is dominating and everything and everywhere else. I mean, they're giving wrestling matches with good stories, and it's the old school formula WWE had, and now they're just trying to catch up and do all that stuff. It doesn't make any rational sense of repeating your history and as a promotion and hoping that you're going to hit pay dirt. It doesn't make any sense. It's not going to work.
Mm-hmm.
So
That's what I like about AEW. You know what? Because we're not seeing the same matches over and over again. Yes, okay, people in the match, the elite versus Christian, Jungle Boy, and Jurassic Express, Luchasaurus, and Brian Dawson. Yes, they have gone with each other for weeks and weeks, I guess. But you know what? It's not like the same single matches over and over. There's been tag team matches, etc. That's what I like about AEW. And you know what? We're seeing, yeah, you know what? We're seeing matches like Darby Allin versus like 2.0, or John Moxley versus guys from 2.0, CM Punk versus like CM Punk was having a match against what's his name? Is it Danny Garcia from 2.0 on Rampage?
mhm.
In WWE, CM Punk would never go up against a guy like Danny Garcia.
I it's one of those things that you talk to a lot of casual fans and a lot of people who just watch wrestling just because it's something on.
Yeah, casuals watch AEW.
Yeah, and there's a lot more going to AEW and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Watch their women's division will be Impact probably by halfway through next year, and because everybody's going to want to go there, and the talent and the quality of talent is going to be insane when it comes to
And
that.
it's getting better.
I mean, eventually it's going to.
I like the title. I do. What do you think of the TBS title? I do
Looks
like the
interesting.
title. I don't think, but I personally think is this a secondary title?
It could be. It could be even just
Just don't treat it. Don't treat it as big as the one Britt Baker has. That's all I'm saying. Because if you do that, it devalues that title a lot.
Well, second women's title should be just what WWE should do. They should have done that a long time ago.
To it.
Like all these ideas and stuff like that. It's ridiculous. None of these people are thinking outside the box.
Beat by this. They got beat by AEW with that secondary title.
Yeah, I know, right?
It's like
it's nonchalantly where they're just trying to push ideas out, and AEW is now are doing a lot better with those ideas. So
I wouldn't be surprised if AEW does proceed with a women's tag team title sometime in the future.
Well, I mean, women's tag titles have been around for a long time previously before the WWE reincarnation of it.
But WWE doesn't want you to remember. The WWE doesn't want you to know that. Remember, because WWE used to have that in the '80s, but they think we're dumb.
It doesn't make sense. Like, why are you going to deny your history? So, I mean, it's all worth it. Oh, we get to talk about
there's some things there's some things you have to like. Some things you don't have to like remember from your history. You don't have to honor, but like the women's tag team titles, there's nothing like bad about it.
Well, we get to talk about Arthur Ashe now. What's up, Drew? How you doing?
I'm tired. But
you've been itching to want to talk about this anyway, so I mean,
yeah, it's nice. It's been a while since I've been on here, since the evil Two Belts Drew lost his match and then was cast away. Had to do all that stuff. But yeah, it's been fun to watch you guys and not reign over my my evilness to everybody.
Well, so I'll ask you before we talk about the AEW show you were at and stuff. What did you think of Mason's promo?
Mason's promo, when he had cut a promo a while back, I remember his first one that he was a little nervous about, and he did pretty well. And I have to say that I think that he's grown as a promo guy. I think, like, put on the spot, I think he did a really nice job last week. And tough shit, because I'm gonna beat you anyway, bitch.
Shots fired.
I think Lily says right now you have $2 in the swear jar, by the way. Because
we have a 7-year-old listening, Drew.
okay.
Rack that up. Absolutely.
Okay. Yeah, there's two of us here that are adults have already racked up almost $20, I think. So
there was
Arthur,
no swear jar the last time I was on this show.
No, but now I have a 7-year-old living with me, so that's kind of a big deal too. But it's fine. We're all adults.
Thank God that 7-year-old wasn't around for a lot of the stuff that I was saying.
Yeah, considering some of that stuff was just like not appropriate for the most part. We'll get into Arthur Ashe, but I have one question. Is he said one of the things he said, and like you stated, that you'll win the match. He stated that you were the head of the table, but you're going to clean the head of the table. It just seems like he's ready. He's becoming a little bit too big for his britches.
No, you know what? It's confidence, and I like it, because you want to know something? That other person, the nameless person, I never got to promo with that person, so it'll be very interesting to get that prediction show with Tad in a few weeks, and actually see one-on-one a human being who's not a coward and can promo battle with me. So it'll be a good time.
Yeah, considering now there's going to be another match on the same card with you guys, and I'll announce that. I got to let them know first. So, all right, let's get to the nitty gritty, because last time I talked to you, you said you wanted to talk about Arthur Ashe. How was your experience at the AEW show at the Arthur Ashe?
It was, and this is 3 weeks late. 3 weeks or 4 weeks now. I don't even. Time is like,
it's COVID time still going on right now.
Yeah. It was surreal. It really was surreal. It was the first
2 weeks
TV. Oh, it's only been 2 weeks. God.
Yeah, the 25th. I think it was the 25th.
22nd of
Wednesday the 22nd. Yeah, it's still 2 weeks.
Wow, it feels like it was a lifetime ago already. It was so surreal, as I said. My first ever live show in general. I've been to some Evolve shows, Progress 2 times when they came to New York. Much smaller venues, much significantly less amount of people. 20,177, I can say, first huge crowd ever been a part of. And it was, like the line, there were lines, and I told you there were lines for everything.
Mm-hmm.
To breathe. There were lines to breathe. That's how it was. I didn't go to the bathroom there once. I didn't buy food there once.
Thank God, man.
I didn't go to. I went to see if the merch stand was, a little bit not crazy like the other lines. Nope, same exact thing. So, and that I feel a little bad about, because I would have liked to have bought something there. But yeah, it wasn't going to happen. And I'm not a line person. I don't like lines. I'm an Amazon Fresh kind of guy. Okay, so but yeah, it was amazing. I got there around 6:40 or so. I got in the building, so I had a couple of minutes to kill before they started the live Elevation taping, and that was a blast. I got to see Paul White for the first time ever and that was
Nice.
surreal for me. Just, you know, he wasn't even somebody that I was thinking of was going to be there wrestling, and I got to see the big, you know, as I knew him, the Big Show, to see him in person because I'd never been to any WWE show before. And then it didn't hit me really until Justin Roberts was announcing the announcer to come out, so Excalibur and then Tony Schiavone, and then Jim Ross, his music played, and for some reason I'm just sitting there in my seat. I'm going, "Holy shit! I'm about to watch $2. I'm about to watch AEW Dynamite and Rampage." And my seat was great. You know, there's 4 levels. There was the floor, and then over the floor, and then 2 more.
Mm-hmm.
So I was on the 3rd of 4. But any seat in Arthur Ashe Stadium is a great seat because the views from anywhere is perfect. And I actually bought a handicap seat, which I didn't know was a handicap seat at the time. So I was right on the level where you go down to the steps so it was like, you know, I had the best leg space. I didn't have anybody behind me except for the few moments where, you know, people are like walking around and then they stop because, oh, something's going on. But the chair was more comfortable than the chair I'm sitting in right now because it was a folding chair. I had a folding chair that was so thickly padded I could have slept on it. And it was so great. And then just the whole experience of 4 hours, 5 hours, really, with some little breaks in between. You know, there was the break between Elevation and Dynamite, and then the break between Dynamite and Rampage. I would absolutely go and experience that again and again and again because it was amazing.
When I saw some of the video from the highlights of it, because, you know, it's kind of hard when you're working and stuff like that as much as I do, that the way that Arthur Ashe is set up, it kind of reminds me, have you ever seen, I know being in New York, some people don't like New England and Boston and stuff, but have you ever seen the old pictures of the old
I don't
garden?
like them right now. I don't like them right now, that's for sure.
Yeah, thank you.
Oh, Yankees and Red Sox?
Yeah, I have a Pats hat on right now.
Yeah.
But have you ever seen the old pictures of the old garden by any chance?
Yeah, I saw
it. Yeah, when I saw that, it kind of gave me nostalgia because I used to go to house shows when I was a kid, and in the old garden, literally, I felt like everybody was on top of each other. So it almost gave that feeling of like, you know, it looked like the old garden for a little bit just in New York. And it just made me feel nostalgic of like thinking about going to see like all these house shows and everything. And it's just a little different.
If you've seen the Barclays Center, pictures of the Barclays Center.
I know Barclays Center from what I hear is bad for hockey. Barclays Center was like a bad venue for hockey, but everything else is fine.
Yeah, it's stadium seating like you've never seen before. Like I have a little bit of a problem with heights, so you know, it's like looking over because I was there once for a graduation ceremony, ironically, not even for like sports, but you get that like feeling that like if you're not holding onto something, you're gonna
fall,
just topple over.
Because, yeah. I've been to stadiums like that too. I've been to wrestling events. I've been to WWE events like where I'm in Toronto, the Air Canada Center. And I was at SummerSlam, Survivor Series in 2016. It's like I know like we give shit on WWE, but I'll tell you this: going to a WWE event in person is an experience, and I'm sure when AEW comes up here, I'll definitely go and be a hell of an experience because I love going to wrestling. I'll say this: I love going to wrestling shows more than sports shows.
I like going to a lot of sports shows a lot because obviously that's not what I can do. But I'm not losing hope. As much as the doctor said for the neurologist I can't go to a wrestling show, I'm not losing hope on that. I'm going to still try. Yeah, I mean, there is still a year till we have all out next year, so all of us have talked about it. But I think realistically, going to I'll be honest, one of the lists is that I want to go see Drew and go to a Yankees game. It doesn't have to be a Red Sox game, but I just want to be able to go and experience Yankee Stadium. I want to go to Wrigley and experience that. I want to be able to go certain places that I've always read about, like the atmosphere in Brooklyn, where you can still walk by like isn't there a monument about the old Brooklyn
Dodgers?
Yeah, the Dodgers,
Yes,
where they used to play.
There is. I don't remember where.
What about the Giants? New York Giants.
Ebbets Field.
Yeah, Ebbets Field and New York to the Polos, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I want to just like check that stuff out from a history standpoint. Like, there's so much stuff I want to do and go to sporting events. I wouldn't be so shocked that one day, because they used to play baseball at Harvard for the Red Sox one time, a long time ago, before Fenway, they used to play at Harvard, where it's now Harvard, as kind of a memorial thing because of the Boston Braves were there. So because it was like kind of like the Yankees and the Mets did, but just, early years before the Braves left. But it's just one of those things that you go to certain stadiums and you're like, it feels like it like an entire event, instead of going to a sports event where you already know that you're going to have a good time, but you're going to be around a lot of people who really just are really mad about stuff. That's the difference between wrestling and concerts. You get that feeling it's going to be a good show, whereas like a sporting event, you don't know the outcome, but still it just feels like you're around people who just don't care.
You could go to look. We talk about Madison Square Garden, right? One of the most famous arena in New York, and Drew knows this very well. The Knicks sucked for 10 years, right? Knicks sucked, but when you get in the NBA, when you got players like LeBron coming in and star power, you'll still get sold out crowds.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And knowing or not knowing the results, we all knew that Brian Danielson, and Kenny Omega was going to be a draw. But man, nobody gave a shit about that. It was electric. It was the loudest I had. I mean, it was like, oh my God, this is so loud. But I loved every moment of it. I mean,
it reminded me of Austin Rock. Like the first time, not the third, second or third. Like WWE that back then let them not, like, they interacted but not touch at all, and then it finally happened. So if you think about it this way, that match, they didn't touch for years. That was a dream match everybody wanted, and then it finally happened, and the whole roof exploded.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I mean,
special, very, very, very special. And I didn't expect, so okay, so I usually didn't like the breaking the fourth wall thing, but I will break the fourth wall now.
It's normal.
Yeah.
Yeah. When I did my video calling out Pat Mason, doing the whole that gimmick, I did the Kenny Omega thing at the end, but it was not because I'm trying to do a belt collector. I'm done with the TBD and all the two belts shit and all that stuff. But I've really grown to love Kenny Omega from AEW. I did not know Kenny Omega from New Japan or anywhere else, nor the Young Bucks or any of the like New Japan stars who may have done ROH or other things, and his music. My idea for that video was, I want to incorporate Kenny Omega in this somehow, and the best way I could do it was play the music. So that's what I did at the end, the zip and reveal the Kenny Omega shirt, because I've been a Roman Reigns guy the whole time. But his theme song, his entrance music, is my favorite right now. So, and Danielson's is new. It sounds good. It's got the Flight of Valkyries beginning. Couldn't even hear that, by the way, in the building. The building was so loud.
Yeah.
Couldn't hear his music at all.
We heard it on screen. Yeah, we heard it on TV.
And I didn't expect them to play the original version of his fall, because usually they would do the one where like the cheerleaders came out and had that like video game sound effects and all that stuff. But that actually like kind of got emotional, like getting to actually hear that and sing Best Bout Machine and just have that whole experience. Sing CM Punk, sing Cult of Personality, and watch CM Punk, and then watch him wrestle for Rampage later. What? It's just I said it on Twitter, and I'll say it again. I happily sang Judas. I am not ashamed. I sang Judas. It was wonderful, and just the whole experience was just. I'll never forget that. I really won't.
The way I put it to it is that I know it's going to be hurtful for me to say this. To me, the pop of that match for me, just watching highlights and watching it over and over again, kind of like with Punk, and just try to get the feel of it. After a while, after watching it, I got to feel like it was like the '04 World Series win. Sorry for opening old wounds, but I'm talking about like after you got to think about it, right? In New York,
he's such a jerk, isn't he?
No, I'm
back on the show,
not.
and then he's got to throw this stuff at me all the time.
I'm not. I'm just trying to give you everybody the idea. It's like, think about 86 years of heartache and break, and then all of a sudden when they won that, the whole pop in New England, literally not just an arena, like an entire country literally pulling for this to happen. And just think about how insane in the cheers. That to me just gave me that feeling all over again watching that win. And that match basically made me like want to just watch AEW mostly now. And it's like I said, I'll probably end up watching some of the stuff here and there, but I mean, WWE, I mean, 36 years of watching their stuff and being loyal to it. And now look at the numbers. I mean, you can't deny numbers don't lie when it comes to ratings and demographics and stuff.
I feel, look, I'm a Leafs fan, and we haven't won a Stanley Cup since 1967. And you know, hockey is like the biggest thing in Canada, especially in Toronto, right? Right? Look, in 2002, when Walker and Hogan, I think probably the largest, probably when we were face to face at WrestleMania, it's probably the largest crowd reaction ever. That year, we thought in Toronto that was gonna be our year to win the Stanley Cup because we're in the third round facing Carolina. And look, Carolina was a good team, but they went to 20 overtimes in the NHL back then. Overtimes, right? Overtimes ended in a tie, right? So they get 1 point for a tie back then. Now, obviously, you have to win in overtime or a shootout. And we were like, yeah, we're going to beat Carolina because we look at the records. Oh, we're going to beat Carolina. We're going to go to the Stanley Cup, face the Red Wings. And the Red Wings were dominant that year too. But unfortunately, we lost to Carolina in 6 games. But we thought that was our year, man.
It's like that atmosphere. You walk into it, you know it's going to be one of those nights that you'll never forget. And then all of a sudden it delivers, and it's something you don't get. It's something special. So, but we're going to thank you guys coming on, especially Drew. It's been a bit, man, and definitely missed you on here. Tell them where they can find you, my friend.
Add Big Money Drew on Twitter. And as I always like to say, the best and worst place to be. And boy, is it lately.
All right, Aaron, tell them where they can find you, man.
You can find me on YouTube at Aaron World Order. It's going to be harder to find me now because my old name, Aaron Entertainment, it was easier to find. Now it's going to be harder. But yeah, and you also can find me on Twitter at Aaron J's fan. Yeah, thank you.
I'm going to try to get a big name coming in soon. I put a feel out for Twitter, see if they're with a bunch of names on it. It's people who I admire and respect and stuff like that. You know, these guys are good friends of mine, so I appreciate them always trying to come on or when their schedules allow. But I'm going to see if reach out to one person and see if it's possible to work something out.
The easiest way to get somebody on the show, just tell them talk shit about me.
Other than that, you know, it's just going to be a lot of crazy stuff where there's a lot of stuff down the pipeline coming down. We're going to figure out. Also, we've got 3 matches coming up for the tournament, which is going to be fun. That title belt needs to get polished because, there is a little 7-year-old running around saying she's the champion. So I'm not going to deny that fact. But, just find it here, Throwback 978 on Twitter. It's the easiest place to find me. We'll be on Twitch and YouTube like we always are. Go check out, a bunch of people that are throughout the show. Go back and look at the catalog, comment, like, and subscribe. It really helps. I put this out there on Twitter. I hope he's watching. Ray, if you're watching, that invitation's an open invitation. It'd be great to do an audio broadcast with you, just to record it and put it out when it's ready. But I want to get started back up on that. Do a good deed, pay it forward. Just live day to day because, anything could happen, Have a good night, guys.
Night.